Hi, I'm John. Now we are moving to chapter 11. We are going to carrier oils. I need to highlight to you is that you need to able to differentiate what's the difference between carrier oils versus base oil, and what's the difference between specialty oils and the rest of the two. When do you use the specialty oils? So there are three kinds of oils: specialty oils, base oils, and carrier oils. What are the difference? So you must be able to explain and list that out. So base oil is for massage. You can see that. And what are the properties of carrier oils and base oils? What are they made of? You must be able to list them out. What are the ingredients which they are made? So you have to take note of the base oil where people have skin allergies, wheat allergies. All right. So make sure that it will not affect the person. All right. Just take note of that. So for the base oil, it is closest to the skin. Okay. The property is closest to the skin. The first kind of base oil is apricot oil. It's very, very moisturizing. It makes the skin very smooth. And then you need to find out what is the half-life of the base oil. Now, base oils, you need to emphasize and need to remember what are their half-life, because without knowing their half-life, you do not know what to use as a base oil for certain applications. And some of the half-life that actually are the shortest can be the best, but may not be practical for your usage if you were to keep it for long term. Canola oil is another oil. It's an oil that has a shelf life which is up to a year. However, you need to find out what is the property of canola oil and what is good for. For coconut oil, take note that there are people who are allergic to coconut oil. You need to know the difference between fractionated and non-fractionated coconut oil. How are they being derived? Grapeseed oil is a wonderful base oil, but it's very expensive. It is the oil, it is a base oil that has the shortest shelf life. It is the most powerful antioxidant base oil, which is excellent for health and skin, but you only have less than 3 months. So when do you use this base oil for massage, for example? Since it has a short shelf life, please write it down under what circumstances you need to use a short shelf life base oil. And basically, when the shorter shelf life the base oil, the healthier the base oil will be, most likely, because it has more antioxidants. All right. So this is hazelnut. Hazelnut is another base oil which is very high in vitamin E, and they are very long in shelf life as well. So jojoba oil, which is very common, they have very high in shelf life as well. Please find out what are their properties to the skin type, what kind of skin type is suitable for all this oil respectively. Now, olive oil is an excellent oil for massage. So this is something that you have to take note most of the time when you want to use a good massage oil for a skin or for sensitive skin. Olive oil is a wonderful oil that you can select. Sesame seeds is another base oil. Again, please find out what is the property and what kind of skin is suitable for the sesame seed oil. Sweet almond oil is another common base oil to use. And when do we need to use sweet almond oil? It has a long shelf life as well. So sunflower oils is another one people use. Sorry. So we go to the rare oil, which is called the walnut oil. They are extremely nourishing to the skin, but they are very rare and they're very expensive. So you are required to find out what skin type for what oil and what circumstances for what oil as a base oil for you to use. This is what you're supposed to do. Now, we now go to specialty oil. So I will be asking you, why do we need to use specialty oil? What is the difference between specialty oil and the base oil? How do you add the specialty oil in the base oil? How much? So the specialty oil are added to the carrier oil or the base oil to sometimes make it much more higher in quality. They are more diverse in their property. They give them additional quality and properties for therapeutic purpose. Again, you need to consider the person's skin type and their health conditions and the situation in order to select them. Avocado oil is one of them, and camellia oil, cocoa butter, evening primrose oil, hemp oil, coconut nuts. So all this specialty oil, you have to find out what are each of their property and when do you need to use them to add in as a specialty oil. There are a long list of specialty oil. Here, you got macadamia, you have neem oil, you have rosehip, you got shea butter. Shea butter is a very common specialty oil to make the skin soft. Just now when I mentioned rosehip, it is also got it is also for benefit to the skin, but also to balance the hormones. So some of the specialty oil here, they do have some kind of medicinal quality inside to the skin or to beauty itself. So please study them accordingly. This is a very dry chapter. You just need to memorize them. Tamanu oil and wheat germ. Now wheat germ, as I say, you have to be extra careful. There are people who are sensitive to wheat. So please do not give them wheat germ oil. But wheat germ oil is great for sometimes bad quality skin and scarring of the skin. However, some people are allergic to it, so you have to take precaution. So that is the purpose of having specialty oil. Is it necessary? Well, if you were to use it as a massage oil, yes. But if you were to add it, if you are adding essential oils, sometimes the essential oils itself is a specialty oil. So these are some of the things that you need to consider. Do you want to add specialty oil or do you want to just add essential oils? But of course, essential oils, a good quality essential oils will be very expensive, right? So there are many plants produce very little essential oils. So one of the ways to extract it out is to put them into oils, carrier oils, macerate them, chop them into small pieces, and put them inside the carrier oil and leave it there for a long period of time so that it can diffuse out into carrier oil after a long period of time. Why? As I say, because they do not produce a large amount of essential oils, and it is not practical to use it under steam distillation nor carbon dioxide extraction, which is too expensive. So many of the infused oil has been produced is because of the medicinal quality and the healing property of some of the plants. But it's just that they do not produce enough essential oils. So this is one of the way you can do that. And that is the reason why macerated infused oil happen to be around. Some of the example are Arnica, borage, Calendula, St. John's worts. There are more, and you can see that in Ayurvedic medicine, traditional Chinese medicine in the Western culture. whereby they find the herbs are very precious and they do have extracts inside. They want to extract it out, but they may not have enough essential oils, or they do not have the technology to extract all of them. Infusion and infusing them inside the carrier oil and macerating them is the most traditional method and the most effective method. In fact, any one of us can do it at home. You should try to do it yourself. Now, you are required to know what's the difference between hydrolytes and hydrosols. Which one is natural? Which one is better? And you need to know more about floral waters. All right, what is the property of floral waters and hydrolytes? They are excellent for skin. And I would like to bring to you the attention is that how are they produced? When during the steam distillations, the container will collect essential oils, but the essential will always be on the top. At the bottom are the liquids they brought from evaporations and condense into this container. And when they condense in this container, the water will carry all the extracts from the plants. They're able to dissolve inside the water, and they are called hydrolytes. Sometimes the hydrolytes can be a neutralizing agent for the properties of the essential oils, sometimes, and some of them. I give you an example. Sometimes when the person could be using a certain essential oils, and then if they have rashes or some burns or the overreactivities on the skin, the hydrolytes of that particular plant will immediately quench it. So such is the wonderful yin and yang quality of the hydrolytes and the essential oils. They are like husband and wife, day and night. However, at the same time, nevertheless, the hydrolytes and the essential oils, one is liquid, one is an oil, they both can also exhibit the same properties. So these are the nature of buffering and quenchings, and they can able to mimic androgenic properties in many cases. So these are some of the hydrolytes. You can study them in the textbooks at page 78 and page 80. Now we need to go to page 81 and 82, lotions and cream. These are very useful. One of the things that you need to highlight is that please use hypoallergenic and fragrance-free, and the preservative has to be natural, like vitamin E's or certain essential oils as a form of preservative. So what are the difference between gels, salve, and ointment? Gels are more liquid, salve are slightly thicker, ointments will be much more thicker generally. So as you go along from gel, salve, and ointment, they're getting heavier and heavier in texture. Now this is important because you have to understand that some conditions whereby they are too dry, you may not be suitable to use gels, because gels tend to cause the skin to be drier. And some in the colder environment or a much drier environment, like in the desert, ointments could be much better. So the climate and the location of the skin will determine whether you use gel, salve, and ointment. The location of the skin, for example, our eye bag is always much more advisable to use gel, of course. Because why? Because the skin is thin. If it's too oily, we will have some reactivities on the eye bag. And if we are applying on the sole of our feet, the gel could be too weak, and it's much better to use ointment to moisturize the sole of the feet because the skin is thick. Now, some other useful carriers that you can carry essential oils are Dead Sea salts. They are used for scrubs. you can refer to the textbook and see how you can make the Dead Sea scrubs for yourself. Basically, it's very easy. You can have a carrier oil, you can have some Dead Sea sauce as a scrub, and you add the appropriate amount of essential oils, and you can renew your skin. One of the things that I need to highlight here is the vegetable glycerin. This is something that you need to study more. They are very versatile. Vegetable glycerins are the most important component in our daily life. They are found in natural soap. You can use it to make soap. They are found in shampoo. They're found in mouthwash. And vegetable glycerins can be used for day-to-day cleaning agents as well. So we advise you to learn how to make soap using vegetable glycerin. This is a much more preferred ingredient for making soap with essential oils. And vegetable glycerin is also an important component when you add with the hydrolytes to make a toner, right? So, and you can, for example, how to make a toner, a little bit of glycerin, maybe 5%, and then hydrolytes, 95%, and just 1 to 2 drops of essential oils, and that will be a wonderful toner. So with that, I'll end this part. This section has a lot of memory for you to do, and they are a little bit more hard in terms of memory work. Not much of the applications, but please do note that you must know what are the components inside, and you must be able to differentiate all these components in aromatherapy. So with that, I will end my chapter 11.